Welcome inside the Saville Community Sports Center, where we are now time for the second half of our doubleheader as the Alberta Golden Bears play host to the MacEwan Griffins. It's the first game of 2024 for both of these teams, and two teams, I think it's fair to say, trending in a little bit different directions. The Golden Bears are 4-4, Doug. What do you make, I call it a roller coaster, what do you make of the first half for the Golden Bears?
Oh, that's a great question. People may not like this answer. I think it's a little bit of probably what was to be expected. When you look at this team, and we've talked about the big four and how important they are and how good they are, and they are very good. But it's that depth below it. What can they do to support? And I think there have been moments where they've done that and moments where they haven't. And I think that has resulted in a team that's right now 500. I think we'll make they're going to make the playoffs. Yep. I don't think they've got some winnable games down the stretch here, but a team that I think could cause some issues for other teams down, as we move into the playoffs. But depth continues to be a big question mark for the Alberta Golden Bears.
And we knew that heading into the season, and you're right, it's maybe a little bit as to be expected. Out of all the four losses the Golden Bears have had, only one of those has been double digits. They've been kind of in a lot of these games, but you're right, just the depth hasn't really been what you were hoping for the Golden Bears. And they still have players that can score at will. Brendan Micklejohn comes in tonight averaging 17.1 points per game. He's shooting a red-hot 45.9% from three. And, of course, Lars Ishimwe in the step forward that Isaac Simon has taken. But this weekend is a good opportunity if you're a Golden Bear supporter to right the ship, because you're playing a team that has not had a ton of success against this program in this building and just in general the last few years.
Yeah, we talked a lot about that during the women's game for MacEwan, a young team that's just trying to find their footing, and this men's team is in a very similar situation. An 0-8 record right now, 0-20 a year ago, 0-16 before that. Their last conference win were back in 2019 in November, but those were as a result of forfeit. They lost those games at Trinity Western, but they're an ineligible player for the Spartans gave the win to MacEwan. Their last win that was a non-forfeit is coming up on almost 5 years ago in Canada West Conference play. So it has been a struggle, and just trying to find some momentum with their roster and just keeping players around and on board, it has proven to be a bit challenging. And MacEwan, again, 0-8 this season, trying to continue to find that footing.
So you're going to look at a handful of the Griffins players. They are 0-8 this season. But it's not for lack of talent. They have a couple guys that can score on that roster, most notably number 4, Matthew Osunde, and number 9, Marco Correas. Both those guys are averaging 14 points per game. So they do have players. But I think an issue for this Griffin team is a lot of times this season, Doug, is the game's kind of been over before the first quarter's been over.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. You look at their last 5 games, and in those games they've given up, in the opening quarter, 33, 30, and 3 straight games of 27 points. They're coming in to a second quarter over the course of this season. So the 8 games they played, they're trailing just over 26 points to 15. So when you're down 11, basically before the game's even gotten going, it's really tough. And they, again, just don't have the offensive depth. You mentioned Osunde and Correas, players that can score, but they play big minutes. Can they find the depth scoring to support that? And again, can they find the defensive stops? Right now, MacEwan, 17th, dead last in Canada West. They're actually the worst defensive team statistically in the country, giving up 88 points a game.
Doug, you could be the dream team. You could be the 96 Bulls. Starting every second quarter down by double digits, that is not a recipe for success.
It's tough. It's a really tough way to do it. And again, for MacEwan, it starts at least somewhat at the defensive end. This is not a great offensive team either. 17th, they're last in Canada West in scoring. But, hey, again, you start to chip away. It's a relatively young team like we talked about. Correas is a third-year player. Osunde is a third-year player. A lot of first- and second-year players beyond that that are seeing some minutes. Can they find some consistency in this lineup, not just week to week, but year to year, so you can finally get a bit of momentum for this program going forward?
So you get a look at the Golden Bears. This is their first official conference game of 2024. We'll get you starting lineups, keys to the game, and action. MacEwan's looking for their first victory against Alberta since February of 2016. The Golden Bears are 16-1 all-time against the Griffins. Griffins wearing their maroon and white uniforms. Alberta wearing their gold uniforms with green trim. We'll be right back with national anthem, starting lineups, and keys to the game. You're watching Canada West TV.
Canada West Conference matchup featuring the MacEwan Griffins going up against your University of Alberta Golden Bears. The University of Alberta acknowledges that we are located on Treaty 6 territory and respects the history, languages, and cultures of the First Nations, Métis, Inuit, and all First Peoples of Canada, whose presence continues to enrich our vibrant community. Now at this time, we'd ask you to please rise if you're able. Remove your caps for the playing of our Canadian national anthem.
There you get a look at the crowd settling in for this one. Crosstown rivalry between the University of Alberta and MacEwan University, north versus south of the river. Mentioned the Griffins. They are 0-8 this season. They look to snap the skid this evening. Let's take a look at the starting five for the Griffins. First, number 4, Matthew Osunde. He's averaging 14.4 points per game to go along with 6 rebounds and 5 assists. Number 6, Ty Hawk. Number 9, Marco Correas. Correas averaging 14 points a game to go along with 7 rebounds. Job Janda and Dami Osuma round out the starting five for this Griffins team. Doug, what's the key to victory for Mike Conley and the Griffins tonight?
Well, it's simple. Get off to a better start. You have to defend better in the opening quarter than they have over the course of their last 5 games, and if they can do that, they give themselves a shot to get into things offensively as this game wears on. But like we said, if you're trailing by 11 after the first quarter, it's a tough hill to climb. They can't climb or have that hill in front of them to climb here tonight.
And now let's take a look at the home side. The Alberta Golden Bears have a record of 4-4, looking for a better second half, and it could start with the guy you just see right there, Lars Ashimwe. He gets the start for the Golden Bears, averaging 15.1 points per game to go along with 3 assists. Isaac Simon has made major strides in year 2. Brandon Micklejohn leads the team with 17 points per game, coming off a 41-point effort last November. Ethan Eggert gets the start, as does Adam Page. Page averaging 14 points and just a hair under 8 rebounds per game. There you see head coach Barnaby Craddock in his 12th season, wearing a gorgeous pair of Brazil Nike Dunks. Nice footwear from Coach Craddock. Doug, what is the key to victory for this Golden Bear team tonight?
You know what? It's get Adam Page involved. He, in the 2 losses to Calgary just at the end of the first half of the season, he only had 10 points over the course of those 2 games. 1 in the loss on the Friday night, the 20-point loss, and then 9 in the second game with the loss, 89-81. That big 4 has to be the big 4. Get Adam Page going early, get him inside, get him out, get him touches. He's still a massive key to where this Golden Bears team is going to go this season.
Page set to take the tip against Osuma. And let's do it. We're underway in the second half of our doubleheader. It's the Griffins and Golden Bears. As Osunde. Bit of chaos here by the Griffins bench to start the game. Osunde Finds Osuma in the corner for Hawk, and he steps out of bounds. I don't know if you saw, it looked like a child almost ended up on the floor there.
I did not see that.
That's why I was so confused. Coach Connolly had to help the youngster. Felt a little bit like Jeff Kent in the World Series about 20 years or so ago. Wasn't quite that drastic.
Dusty Baker's kid almost took a dangerous turn that night.
Yeah. But regardless, we're back underway. Eggert makes a nice move in the paint, spins and fires, too strong. And the Griffins now, in response, it's Correas. Osuma has that deflected out of bounds.
Should mention for Barnaby Craddock, Caden Kushner not in the lineup tonight. First-year player that has given them some good minutes. Speaking of depth off the bench, averaging just under 19 a game and 5.5 points to go with 5.5 rebounds. So they will miss him this evening.
Ishimwe. Nice dish to Adam Page. No look dish to Eggert. That three is too strong. However, Page in perfect position for the rebound. Nice underhand bounce pass to Ishimwe. And Lars spins and is fouled. Looks like that's going to go on Correas.
Yeah, Ishimwe able to get inside. Uses that screen from Eggert, spins, and Correas just gets a grab of that arm. And that will send Ishimwe to the free throw line. 76.5% free throw shooter this season. The Bears 10th in Canada West, just over 70% from the line.
Looking at strictly just the rosters, and maybe who's on the floor right now, Doug, does seem like MacEwan has a bit of a length advantage. There's a lot of tall, lean, lanky players on this MacEwan side.
Well, and it's a great point because it puts a little bit more pressure on the Bears' young depth. And again, Kushner on the lineup here tonight. Nate Waldron missed some games before Christmas. He's back and dressed here tonight. Patrick Fisher, of course, as well. So they may have to go a little bit into that bench to support against some of the size that MacEwan offers.
Nice second and third effort there by Osuma. However, it goes out of bounds. And it will be Golden Bears ball. We have a bit of a hockey score right now, 1-0. Ishimwe, one of the more explosive players for the Golden Bears. Osunde with the nice steal off Micklejohn. Osunde lays it in, makes no mistake.
That is good quick hands by Osunde. Strips the ball from Micklejohn, and that sends him off to the races.
Micklejohn, I mentioned red hot from beyond the arc to close out 2023. Simon puts it on the ground to Eggert. 6 to go on the shot clock. Simon. Nice dish to Eggert. Goes up, and that is blocked by Osuma. But a foul is called, and that's going to send Ethan Eggert to the line for 2.
It's a good job by late in the shot clock by Simon to find Eggert. Not sure if we have a look at that replay, but forces the foul on Osuma. As Eggert just got a quick step to the inside of the MacEwan post as Eggert hits the his first free throws of the season.
Big spot here for Eggert. Get some minutes in the starting rotation, and that's how you stay in the rotation. You go 2 for 2, hit your free throws.
Well, and a player that, you know, is really vital to where this program is, again, going to be this year because he can provide some offense. We saw that a couple years back. He can provide some instant offense.
Pickpocketed by Simon, and he flushes that with authority. Sends a jolt of electricity through the Saville Center, and a really nice response. That's Janda.
Joe Janda left alone on the baseline. A nice find by Osunde as the Bears leave him open.
Ishimwe somehow finds Simon, who finds Micklejohn in the corner. Stop me if you've heard this one before. Micklejohn is good for 3.
Well, as he will keep an eye on that as he inches his way closer to the all-time Golden Bears mark for three-pointers made.
It's been a pleasure to watch his career in green and gold as Glasgow finds Hawk. Moves it over to Siki. His shot misses to the right. Page with the rebound. Adam Page, number 13 for the Golden Bears. Ishimwe, Eggert. Page for three. That is strong. Rebound there collected by Janda. And he hands it off to Osunde. Osunde moves to his right, being watched by Simon. Cuts left. Stops. Puts it on the ground. Jump shot by Janda, partially blocked by Ashimwe. This three-pointer by the Griffins, off the mark. Mickeljohn in perfect position for the rebound, and here come the Bears. Lars Ashimwe takes a look for help, decides to go one-on-one against Hawk, and he draws the foul. Excuse me, that foul's going to go against Janda, not Hawk, so good job there by Lars Ashimwe to draw the foul.
I had a coach tell me years ago, when you've beaten a player once, don't try to go back, don't slow up and try to beat him again. Well, Ashimwe's a player that can beat guys over and over, and that time he beats the player down the floor, then spins back into the double team, and then still slips between that, and he's able to get himself the foul call.
Page misses that, however. Patrick Fisher, in the right place, right time off the glass, and Alberta's opened up a 6-point lead.
Nice tip there by Fisher to stay with it inside.
Osunde battling with Ashimwe. Finds Correas. Osuma. Three-pointer by Siki is strong. Fisher there for the rebound. And Ashimwe. To Mickeljohn for three. Hits the deck, but he is going to go to the line to shoot three.
We had in that big game, the 41-pointer, he had a 4-point play in that game where he got knocked down but hit the shot. That one there just a touch short. And now Mickeljohn at the free throw line. Leads his team at the line, 77%.
And that one rattles around and falls. There you see Mike Conley in his 5th season with MacEwan. Spent some time at Nate before that.
And with the University of Lethbridge as their head coach from 02 to 09. And prior to that, an assistant with the University of Toronto.
He's been around collegiate basketball for a long time. As Mickeljohn again gets, we'll call that the home advantage bounce. He's familiar shooting free throws here at the Saville. As Joel Siki to inbound for the Griffins. Looking for any type of movement here. Finds Correas. Correas coming all the way from Spain in his 3rd year with MacEwan. Being guarded by Page. Correas spins, fires off the mark. Mickeljohn there for the rebound. Page. Mickeljohn for three. That is off the mark. Simon comes flying in on the rebound. That is good, and MacEwan calls a timeout, down by 10 midway through the first quarter. Golden Bears lead by 10 midway through the first. You are watching Canada West TV.
Look at this view. Soak it in, everyone. This is our city.
Global News, our city, our news.
So you get a look at Barnaby Craddock and the Golden Bears. They lead by 10.
Last possession, Alberta, it's a tough shot by Correas, off balance, fading away. Alberta comes up with the ball from Mickeljohn, and it's 5 gold jerseys pushing up the floor. They were ahead of 3 other MacEwan players. We talked in the opening about MacEwan needing to make sure they don't let teams get on runs. Well, you can't let 5 players get out ahead of you like that because it leads to easy buckets, it leads to fouls. And for Alberta, I mean, they're a team that will push the pace. They have guys that can run, and MacEwan has to be aware of that, has to get back and think defense. As soon as Correas misses that, hey, Mickeljohn's got the board, I'm hustling, getting myself back as quickly as I can, cut off any gold jersey I can find.
Osunde across half for the Griffins. Finds Osuma. Nice pass on the floor to Siki, and he can't finish. And Isaac Simon across half for Alberta. Simon uses every second possible and lays that in. We have a bit of a shot clock error now. Now we're back fixed. was Matthew Osunde, native of Morinville, to Correas. Back to Osunde. In paint, puts a lot of spin on that. Hits the deck out of bounds. It's going to remain Griffin ball.
That's a nice job defensively there by Patrick Fisher to step over and help out on Osunde and just go straight up.
We're having a late substitution here. It's Coach Conley having a conversation with the official.
He doesn't agree with me that Fisher went straight up. That's fine. I mean, hey, it won't be the first time that people would disagree with stuff I say.
Correas. We have the easy job tonight.
That's right.
The very easy job. As a shot clock violation, not great communication there. I guess a block, excuse me.
Well, that's a huge break for MacEwan as the shot clock had expired. And they get the blocking call on Simon, who will check out.
Marco Correas to inbound. Finds Janda. And Max Russell checks into the game for the first time. That hits the foot of Janda. This is going to be Golden Bears ball.
Yeah, Janda tried to just kind of squeeze those ankles together to hang on. He knew two Golden Bears were right there. We're going to run away with it.
Ashimwe. To Powell. There's a couple of Golden Bears checking in for the first time tonight. Ashimwe tried to find Russell. That was intercepted, and here come the Griffins. Osunde. In the corner for Hawk. Osuma to Hawk. Nice finger roll there by Hawk, however, just a little too strong as Fisher there for the rebound. That's Fahad Youssef. Ashimwe makes a move. Calm, cool, and collected. Can't finish that shot. Good job there by Correas to keep it in bounds. And Osunde being watched by Powell to Osuma. Back to Osunde. Janda runs right into Fisher. And that's a turnover, and here come the Bears. Youssef to Ashimwe. Under 3 minutes remaining in the first. Bears lead by 12. Ashimwe going one-on-one against Osuma. Has him in a phone book. Loses the, or phone booth, excuse me. Loses the handle, and here come the Griffins. Osunde has that swatted away. Great defensive play there by Max Russell. What an effort shown.
Yeah, it's a good job by Russell to come over and get a hand on that ball. It's so easy in situations like that to come over and get an arm, get a piece of the body, but Russell just times it well. You'll see Russell come out of the side of your screen there and just get a hand out as Osunde showed that ball a little bit early.
Osuma in the paint. 3 gold jerseys swarm him. Osunde to Osuma. Correas on the floor. Osunde has that blocked by Ashimwe, and here come the Bears. Ashimwe left wide open. Can't finish. Waldron can't finish and tipped out of bounds, and it should be Golden Bears ball. They're going to give it to MacEwan.
Yeah, and Waldron just maybe over-adjusted, thinking there was going to be some contact there. Should say as well, thanks to and welcome to all those watching on CBC Gem today. If you're tuning in here from Edmonton between the Golden Bears and the Griffins.
Ashimwe. Powell for 3 is good. 19-4. Bears out in front.
Just comes off that screen up top, and no one steps over to get a hand in the face of Powell at a good amount of time to set his feet and get rid of it.
Osunde has that stolen by Waldron. Hands it off to Youssef. In the corner to Russell. Good ball moving here. Powell's 3 is blocked. Job Jand has been all over the floor tonight for the Griffins. Great play on defense there. Correas thought about a 3, finds Osunde. Glasgow. Pass off the mark, and here comes Russell. Surrounded by Griffin, so he slows things up. Curls. Nice pass to Ashimwe. Loses the handle, but of course he's so quick he gets it right back. Nice play there to Waldron. Nice finish there by the first-year Golden Bear.
Yeah, that's a good job there by Waldron to recognize where to be, knowing that Ashimwe's got eyes on the back of his head, the side of his head, everywhere. Slips down the lane, Ashimwe finds him. It's a nice finish by Nate Waldron.
Janda to Correas. 4-3. That one is too strong. Good rebound there by Powell. Powell swings over to Youssef. Deep three. Too strong. Is Ashimwe. That's going to be out of bounds Griffin's ball, but Ashimwe almost got there before Osunde. And if you're not familiar with Lars Ashimwe, you kind of forget how quick he is and how if you think he's 3 steps behind, he's usually just 1 step behind, or maybe he's even with you. I still am impressed with how quick he is on the floor.
Oh yeah, I mean he absolutely just has those bursts. I think he almost surprised Youssef a little bit as well, who was in a position to maybe try to keep that ball alive.
Janda on the floor, stolen there by Waldron. Great heads-up play there, and here comes Alberta.
A couple times Waldron's fronted, is able to get those steals.
Blocked out of bounds. That was Mondahar. Mayin Mondahar, first-year player from Edmonton. And it's going to be Golden Bears ball with 21 and a half ticks left in the first. 3 seconds between shot clock and game clock. As Max Russell inbound. Russell to Simon. Simon being watched by Siki. Simon pulls up for 3. That is good. Isaac Simon opens up a 20-point lead for the Golden Bears. 6 seconds remaining in the first. Janda to Correas. 2. He's got to fire. A deep 3 by Correas is going to be short. And after the first quarter, it is all Golden Bears. They lead by 20. The score is 24-4.
Yeah, I mean, what do we say off the top? I mean, if you're MacEwan and you're going to stay in this ball game, you've got to find a way to defend. They didn't do that overly well, giving up 24, and then only putting up 4 points themselves, and often looked somewhat confused with their offensive possessions. Did not get great looks. And again, you're just, as I look quickly at the numbers here, MacEwan goes 2 of 17 in that opening quarter. 12%. Bears shoot the ball relatively well, 8 and 19. It's just a tough way to play a game. You just can't, I mean, you cannot trail like that after an opening 10 and stay in it. And I mean, I'm not really sure what else to add, to be completely honest with you, Mark.
We'll take a look at some of these stats after the first quarter, as it was all Alberta. We mentioned turnovers, 7 turnovers by MacEwan. Alberta, as I'm trying to process and absorb all these stats, the one that jumps out, rebounding, Alberta has quite the advantage. I guess the number I found, I was looking for something, MacEwan shooting 11.8% from the field.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't get great looks, forced some shots. Alberta did a good job. The rotations are good. We saw Patrick Fisher do a good job. Nate Waldron a couple times on those entries, able to quarter front or half front and step around and tip them away and come up with them himself. You know, again, it's just those little things. If you're the recipient, or to be the recipient of that pass, you got to battle hard to get open. Give a target, get open, battle against that defender. If you're the passer, help that player out, open him up, put the ball in a spot he can get to. And so it's little things like that, you know, that MacEwan struggled with in that opening quarter. And I mean, Nate Waldron's a first-year player, and those are 2 really good reads by him. Patrick Fisher, a second-year player, good reads by him on rotation to step over and help out against a good player like Osunde. So right now, it's the younger players of Alberta, you know, winning the battle against some of the top players from MacEwan.
Alberta 8 points from turnovers, MacEwan with 2. Alberta with 10 points in the paint, MacEwan with just 4. Alberta 11 second chance points, MacEwan with 0. As Isaac Simon opens up the scoring in the second quarter. bench points, Alberta 7 to MacEwan 0. And one number I think is also worth chatting about, 0 free throw attempts by MacEwan. If you want to start chipping away at this 22-point deficit, you got to find a way to get to the line. A lot of shots from the outside by the Griffins.
Yeah, and giving the ball up maybe a little bit early rather than going hard at the hole. There's a good take right there by Siki trying to do that. Go hard to the hole.
And you'll take that, right?
Yeah, and try to draw some contact and at worst get to the line.
Russell to Youssef. Simon. Waldron draws a foul. So similar to what we're saying MacEwan should be trying to do, Alberta does it themselves, and that's going to send Nate Waldron to the line.
Yeah, and look, I mean, this is just good hard work by Isaac Simon. That's not an easy pass to open up that window. It's pretty narrow. You got a great angle, great job there by, as always, by our camera crew to give you a good look at what Simon was trying to do to get that to Nate Waldron. And Waldron now at the free throw line, his first ever free throw as a Golden Bear, hits it.
Successful.
Yep.
You might know this better than me, but are Waldron's shoes a nice nod to his high school ball?
Well, hey, that's a good question. I might need to text his dad and just see what's going on, because, I mean, those blue shoes, blue doesn't often stand out, but certainly in this court tonight, they definitely do.
Absolutely.
Yeah, as a former Paul Kane Blue, and you and I both have some ties to there, and I mean, I couldn't pull those off, though. There's no chance. Although they've gone more with the Carolina blue.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, from when I played 1,000 years ago, we were dark blue with a little hint of the baby blue, but then they've gone straight baby blue lately.
There's a couple players hit the deck here. Maybe slippery floor to begin the second quarter. Osunde. 5 to go on the shot clock. Finds Janda in the paint. He's got to get something up, and he is fouled. So foul is on the floor, so no shots, as Simon picks up his second foul of the game.
Take a look here as Simon steps in. Yeah, he gets that right hand on the wrist, it looks like, of Janda, and that's a gamble. You're taught often to go underneath, try to strip the ball rather than up top. That's a big foul for Alberta. That's 2 on Simon, who has been outstanding here in the early going with 11 points, 5 for 5 shooting, 3 assists.
I remember watching the Golden Bears last year as Osuma off the inbound, too strong. Just watching Simon get more and more comfortable with every single game he plays. Just second year of eligibility for this Golden Bear team. Going to be a big part of this program moving forward. As Waldron fights for it, ends up in the hands of Osunde to Osuma. Janda. Osunde. Osuma. It's a big battle between Osuma and Waldron down low. That shot off the mark, and here come the Golden Bears. Brandon Micklejohn head up down the floor, finds Russell. Ishimwe being double teamed. Waldron wide open underneath the rim, said Micklejohn. It's almost rare to see Micklejohn take a shot from the paint. He turns it over, and here come the Griffins. Correas. Max Russell used every inch of his frame to get a piece of that. And here's Fahadi Youssef, a nice finger roll in. Nice finish there by the Golden Bears.
24-0 run. MacEwan scoreless in their last 9:39. One of their last 17 from the field.
Osunde. Stolen again by Alberta. 4 gold jerseys against 1. MacEwan is Youssef. Tried to go behind the back to Waldron. And a foul is called. Janda fouls Brandon Micklejohn.
And there's another example. Look, it's going to sound like we're picking on MacEwan, but there's an example. Janda, that's a scrambly play by Alberta. A bit of a, Youssef behind the back to Waldron. He can't grab it. We'll get to that in a second. 7:12 to go. 29-4 the Golden Bears up on MacEwan. You're watching Canada West TV.
Yeah.
For the first time since 2001, the U Sports Women's Basketball Championship is back on Edmonton's soil. Witness the 8 best teams from across the country compete for U Sports supremacy. To stay up to date on everything related to the U Sports Women's Basketball Championship, go to bearsandpandas.ca/WBB24. Coming to Edmonton, March 2024.
Welcome back inside the Saville Community Sports Center. And Doug, we've been chatting about it all season, really since the announcement came. I cannot wait for March. The women's national final. It is going to be a spectacular event. If it's anything like the men's a couple years ago, basketball fans in Edmonton are in for a treat.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
Back underway here in the second quarter. Alberta out ahead comfortably 29-4. They're on a 24-0 run. Adam Page for three. Make that a 27-0 run. As Adam Page gets his first points of the evening. Correas. Siki. Spins right into a Shimway, and it's going to be Alberta ball based on the possession arrow. A lot of self-inflicted wounds by the Griffins in this one.
Yeah, rebounds on 19-10 in favor of Alberta, 6-4 on the offensive glass. Bench points 10-0 in favor of the Bears, and then we've talked a lot about depth with this Bears team. They're getting some production from their bench here so far tonight. Points in the paint, 14-4 in favor of Alberta.
Osunde. Foul is called as Isaiah Torrington called for his first foul of the evening.
And Barnaby Craddock going into his bench. Torrington averaging just 4 points a game, or 4 minutes a game, I should say. Just over a point a game.
Osunde. Siki loses it, but gets it right back. Shot too strong. A rebound snatched up there by Eggert. Eggert across half for the Bears. Hands it off to Torrington. Micklejohn, that's his favorite spot on the floor. Finds a Shimway. As Eggert tried to find Page down low, and the Bears turn it over, and here comes Osuma. Siki to Osunde, back to Siki. He loses it out of bounds, and that's another turnover by the Griffins. 5:43 left in this one. It has been all Alberta. Shimway has a lane, makes no mistake, and it's a 30-point lead midway through the second quarter. Is that a 32-0 run that the Bears are on right now?
A 29-0 run right now by Alberta.
Correas.
Scoreless for almost 12 minutes are the Griffins.
Correas. Three-pointer is off the mark. Out of bounds and a shot clock violation. With 5:04 remaining in the second. Page to inbound. Doug, one of your keys was get Adam Page involved, and they haven't needed to get Adam Page involved.
Well, that's the thing. They've been able to really spread the minutes out here so far as well. I mean, Adam Page has only played 8 minutes.
Powell. Torrington. Page. Nice dish there to Eggert. I don't know if he was expecting that. As the shot clock expires, rebound there by Hawk. And Hawk hands it off to Osunde. Janda. Janda throws it, and that is just too strong. Mondahar. Osunde spins, down low to Mondahar, keeps it in bounds, fights for it, can't finish, tipped. And the Griffins cannot buy a bucket right now. Powell. 4 minutes remaining in the half. Micklejohn. Nice pick set there by Eggert. Micklejohn. Eggert up and under, too strong. I'll give Griffins credit. They're doing a good job taking Brendan Micklejohn out of this one.
Yeah, they've done a good job running him off the line or getting up in his face, that's for sure.
Janda and Osunde play give and go. Mondahar. Osunde being watched by Torrington. 3 to go in the shot clock. Foul called. No shot. And a foul is called.
It's on the ground, so it will be possession Griffins. MacEwan right now 2 of 24 from the field. 8%. 0 of 8 from the three-point line. Bears 48% from the field.
Hawk to inbound. Finds Osunde. Nice dish there to Janda. And no bucket, but that will send the Griffins to the line for the first time tonight. Down by 30. Patrick Fisher going to pick up the foul, and Job Janda to the line.
Janda, 52% free throw shooter on the season.
Misses his first attempt. Janda goes 0 for 2. When it rains, it pours. Micklejohn to Fisher. Powell. Fisher to Powell. Page. 5 to go in the shot clock. Page being watched by Hawk. 1 to go. Rising fire. Page is good. Uses every millisecond of the shot clock. And it's a 32-point lead.
Sorry, Mark. And yeah, that excellent footwork that Adam Page has always had on display there. And patience, knowing the shot clock's winding down. He doesn't force it. Gets himself the best look he can.
Hawk. Janda. Janda loses it, but it's going to be last touch by the Bears. So the Griffins have a chance to inbound with only 5 seconds on the shot clock. As Isaac Simon checks back into the game, as Logan Powell will take a breather. As Barnaby Craddock getting everyone on his bench involved in this one as his team leads by 32.
Simon with those 2 fouls. Back in here with 2.5 to go in the opening half.
And it's a 31-0 run right now.
Yes.
A shot off the mark by Osunde. And a nice lay in there by Fahad Youssef. I don't think I've seen too many 33-0 runs in my time broadcasting Canada West games, Doug.
Nope, I can't say I have either.
Janda, 2 minutes remaining in the half, being watched by Page. Osunde. Hawk, 3 to go. Deep 3 by Hawk. Air ball. And it will be Golden Bears ball.
And the thing for MacEwan right now, look, you're going to have stretches where things just don't fall for you. That happens. But for the most part in this run, the scoreless run of 50.5, they haven't had great looks. Like, they're not getting great possessions to give themselves decent opportunities to score here. So that, I think, is as concerning right now if I'm MacEwan as anything.
Youssef, 2 quick points.
Youssef's been good in terms of running the floor, getting open. That baseline cut there opens himself up.
Osunde off the mark. Page with the rebound. Looks to his left for help. Simon, 4-3. That shot doesn't fall. And here comes Osunde. In the corner, found Nash May, who's checked in for the first time for the Griffins. Osunde puts it on the floor. Janda can't control it, and here come the Bears. Micklejohn with Page. And Micklejohn hits the hoop and has the chance to complete the 3-point play.
Yeah, Nash May, I mean, if you're going to, he just kind of leans into him late. Like, you either got to force the pass or you got to completely take that shot away, send Micklejohn to the line. But he ends up picking up that foul and sending the Bears' best free throw shooter to the free throw line. Micklejohn, 7 points, 2 of 3 from the field, 1 of 2 from the three-point line.
Micklejohn has 8 points. 38-0 run for the Golden Bears. Outscored the Griffins 19-0 in the second quarter. Osunde. Correas. To May. May loses it out of bounds. So the Golden Bears will inbound with 38.7 seconds, and there you're going to look at Mike Conley. Like, what do you think is going through Coach Conley's mind right now? I know you're not a mind reader, but what could possibly be going through is Adam Page's three, just a hair off.
Yeah, I mean it's some execution, it's some effort. You know, even some system stuff. I mean, they often look confused on offense, and here's another possession where they just look lost in terms of what they're trying to do.
Osunde. Hawk finally gets a bucket for MacEwan as the building erupts. Their first points of the quarter, and Patrick Fisher says, "Not so fast." He answers back with an emphatic dunk as time expires. And at half, the Golden Bears lead 45-6. If you're just tuning in, our Chiron is accurate. It has been all Golden Bears. They end on a 40-2 run to end the first half.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly, I don't even know what to say. I mean, the fact that it took that long for MacEwan to get another bucket. And again, like I said, that last possession where they finally did get the score, they were absolutely confused on offense. They had no idea who was going where the cutter was supposed to be, where the screen is supposed to come. Like, they had no idea. And that, to me, is the more damning thing. You can be down 45-6, but if you're halfway through a season and you're trying to execute at the offensive end and you're not sure where you're trying to go, that, to me, is the more damning thing from what I've seen in this first half than the score itself. And I'll just leave the rant there because, I mean, I have too much respect for people that play at this level and coach at this level, but, Mark, this is yeah, I'm just going to stop. You can take a breather. I'll go through some stats from that first half. Isaac Simon has a game-high 11 points for the Bears. He's shooting red hot, 83.3%. The Golden Bears shooting 53% as a team. They are dominating the boards. They have a 25-16 advantage. MacEwan has turned the ball over 14 times in the first half. Alberta with 11 assists. The Golden Bears have 18 points off those turnovers. They have 11 second chance points, 11 fast break points, 16 bench points, and the Griffins are shooting 10.7% from the field. It has been a struggle for MacEwan all night long. 45-6. The Golden Bears lead at halftime. He's Doug McLean. I'm Mark Mougeot. You're watching Canada West. We'll take a 10-minute pause, and we'll be back here for second half between the Golden Bears and the Griffins.
Welcome back to the Saville Community Sports Center. As there you get a look at Ty Hawk laying in a shot in the reaction. And the reason we're showing you that basket coming back from half is that was the only basket scored in the second quarter by MacEwan. It is 45-6 in favor of the Alberta Golden Bears. They ended that half, and please correct me if I'm wrong, on a 40-2 run. It has been all Alberta. MacEwan, what can you really say? We'll get to the keys to the game, and Doug, your key was a better start and defend in the first quarter, and MacEwan did have a lead at one point in this game.
Yes, they did.
But they certainly did not get off to this first quarter start you were hoping for in the keys to the game.
No, and again, you cannot, you're just climbing a mountain that you don't have the talent to climb when you're down by 20 points after the opening quarter. And then when you compound it by just confusion at the offensive end of the floor and missing some easy looks that you did finally get for yourself late in that second quarter, it's not going to work.
And your key for the Golden Bears is get Adam Page involved, and they haven't had to get Adam Page involved. There's a great effort there shown by Ethan Eggert. You hope no one gets hurt in a game like this, too, when you're hitting the floor as hard as he did. But, yeah, they didn't need Adam Page at all.
No, and I think, again, we saw the glimpses of what Page brings. He got 5 points, 13 minutes. But they just have not had to use him as much, which is good. Shot clock violation against MacEwan, but you're going to need Page rested, healthy down the stretch, and so anytime you can find to give him a little bit of extra rest, you're going to do it. And in a game like this where you go up to such a huge lead, that's exactly what you're able to do, and Coach Craddock able to get his young guys in.
Page in the corner for three.
Yeah, that's a tough matchup for Osuma to close out on Adam Page to the corner.
48-6, the Golden Bears lead. Correas. Tried to find Hawk, and that was intercepted by Ishimwe. And Lars is fouled, so he will go to the line to shoot two. 62 seconds into the second half.
He's fouled on the ground, and again, Ishimwe steps in, and that's what I'm talking about. From an execution standpoint, Hawk either has to close the distance on that pass, or Correas has to dribble out a little bit more and wait for that target to open up.
Nice play there to find Ethan Eggert. And here comes Matthew Osunde. The Griffins shooting just 10.7%. Hawk in and out. Brendan Micklejohn bumped by Osuma. And it will be Golden Bears ball. Ends up in the second row. So, we're comfortably okay saying Alberta's ahead right now, and I guess I'm going to try to talk about the headspace of both these teams. If you're I guess we'll start with the Golden Bears. I said off the top this was an opportunity to help right the ship as Page makes a nice finger lay. How hard is it to stay engaged when you're up by 40 points to start the second half?
Very. Look, these guys love to play. They're competitive. Sometimes, hey, it's a game where everything's going your way. It's a chance to, and this sounds a bit selfish, but it's a chance to add to those numbers, get guys open, get guys buckets. It's that kind of a game, especially for the guys that play big minutes. But I think you're going to see the minutes spread really, really evenly here. You're going to see a lot of the younger guys coming in playing some big minutes, because that's what, as a coach, you have an opportunity to do that. Give them some minutes in a game that, again, you're up by 49 points and you're barely into the second half.
If I would have told you before this game started that it would be 55-6, you'd assume someone went nuclear. You'd assume someone would have 10 three-pointers and a double-double and a triple-double here, but it's been a very balanced attack on offense by the Golden Bears. There's a couple players in double digits, don't get me wrong, but it's just been a balanced team effort, and a lot of these mistakes are just self-inflicted by MacEwan.
Yeah. And again, it's even effort, like up the floor. Like Simon gets left open on the weak side. He's wide open, and there's no recognition to go to him. Well, right now he's got 11 points, but there's there's no recognition from a MacEwan standpoint in defensive transition to get out to him. So it's an easy look for Alberta to find him wide open like that.
As Siki, as Micklejohn does a good job to get in front of Siki, and he lays it in. As the Griffins have matched their point total from the second quarter, 55-8. Shimway. Nice dish there to Eggert. And a foul called there against Janda. And I said it to start the second half, and this goes for both sides. You don't want anyone to get hurt now in a game like this. You're still going to be diving for loose balls and fighting for rebounds. But this is just, you just got to hope both teams remain healthy now for the next 17 minutes of gameplay.
Yeah, and there's a nice slip by Eggert to the rim and a good find. But yeah, I mean, I think you're right. You can't think that way as a player because often that's when you are a little bit tight and you start to do some things you wouldn't normally do to try to protect yourself as you take a look at that MacEwan bench. But yeah, I mean, these are tough games. I mean, not that this happens a lot, but these are tough games to play in either way. I mean, so we'll see how both teams deploy their lineup over the course of the next 17:02.
I know no one watching feels bad for us, but this is hard for everyone involved. This is hard on both teams. It's hard on the officials. It's hard on the coaches.
Yeah, and if you're MacEwan, again, it's just about trying to find some rhythm, especially at the offensive end of the floor, to see if you can get some decent looks out of your offense, because they just have not had that. It's been a lot of this, just dribble, try to find an open player, and then looks that have often done exactly that, come up short. Not a lot going north-south, and it's been a lot of hanging on to the basketball for MacEwan. Not a lot of flow.
A 48-point lead for the Golden Bears. Make that now a 51-point lead.
And there's some confusion defensively. Hawk looks over, I think it was Correas, and he's trying to figure out where to go. And that split second opened up Powell just enough time for him to get that look off before Hawk could recover. So again, some of this confusion that exists on both ends of the floor causing MacEwan more problems.
As Brandon Micklejohn is on the floor in some discomfort, and they're going to call for the athletic therapist now. Brandon Micklejohn right in the middle of your screen there.
And Micklejohn's the one with the foul.
He is leaking there. So they're going to work on Brandon Micklejohn. As they get a look at the MacEwan huddles, we don't need to show Micklejohn in his cover. Gets a nice ovation, but he is certainly leaking, and they're going to have to clean up the floor. And that's what I was just saying. You hope, listen, I don't think that's super serious. It maybe looks worse than it is, but that's the kind of thing you're hoping to avoid in a game like this.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, Micklejohn just trying to step through that screen, just an inadvertent elbow, and he ends up with the foul call. So first foul on Micklejohn, first Bears foul here in this third quarter.
It actually kind of reminded me of a scarier play earlier this season involving Morgan Harris of the Pandas, almost in the exact same position on the floor. So we'll take a timeout as we clean up the floor. Looks like one of the athletic therapists for the Golden Bears is handling that right now. 6:19 remaining. The third. And the Bears lead by 51. This has got to be close to the largest margin of victory in Golden Bears program history.
Well, we'll see where it lands. Yeah, I mean, in terms of, lead with partway through a third quarter, I don't think that stat is kept, but you're probably right. It's probably the largest ever, but nonetheless, I mean, still lots of time to go. And for MacEwan, I think it's the simple thing is, can we win the next 16 minutes? That's really what you're trying to do.
I don't want to put pressure on him, but I'm pretty sure our buddy Paul Cartilage tracks everything involving the U of A, so he might have that stat for us.
He might, yeah.
6:19 remaining. Jaksic. Inbound it for the Griffins to Hawk. Hawk. Siki, 3 to go. Siki with a nice touch. And the Griffins are in double digits.
Tough look. That's a tough shot for Siki. Goes up, but just holds in the air just a split second to get a better look off.
3-pointer here for Russell. Too strong. And Siki loses it to Powell. And Logan Powell's going to slow things up here for the Golden Bears. Simon back to Powell. His 3-pointer off the mark. Rebound there by Correas. Hawk, jump shot is good. And a nice little mini run here in the third quarter for the Griffins. Simon to Page in the corner. Powell, 3 is good. And restores the 50-point lead for the Golden Bears.
Well, there's a difference. A little 4-0 run by MacEwan, but then quickly answered back. Powell, they don't recognize another good shooter, and they don't get out on him. He's left open and knocks another one down. Logan Powell's got 9 points, 3 of 5 from the three-point line.
Mondahar to Osunde. 3 to go on the shot clock. And a jump shot there by Correas off the mark.
But again, slow into it. The screen from Mondahar a little bit slow developing. That beats up some time, and then by the time Osunde is able to dribble through it, he's late getting that ball off to Correas.
Russell's 3-pointer doesn't fall. Hawk in great position there for that rebound. And Ty Hawk draws a foul as Logan Powell's going to pick up his first of the evening.
Ty Hawk, you look at him there briefly. Second-year player from Edmonton, played at Rochette, but did redshirt one season with the Thompson Rivers Wolfpack. Pretty good volleyball player too, played volleyball through high school with the T-Birds.
Osunde. Correas loses the handle, turnover there by the Griffins. And it's going to be Golden Bears ball.
20 turnovers now for MacEwan.
Reminder, these two teams back at it again tomorrow evening. Page. Off the glass and in. And Adam Page has a chance to complete the 3-point play.
And again, just a good example. Like, simply put, MacEwan just does not have a player that can match up. I mean, look at Adam Page. He gets the ball inside the 3-point line, works on Correas, continues to work, and just that little step away by Fisher draws his defender away, and that opens up Page to turn to the rim. That's a tough matchup for the likes of Correas.
Page cannot complete the 3-point play. Osunde. Rising, firing. That shot falls.
And one of the few times MacEwan, we've seen them get into decent scoring position. Osunde able to break down Powell.
Page. Battling with Janda. Finds Fisher. To Powell. Nice pass there to Fisher. And eventually falls. Really nice dish there by Logan Powell. And Patrick Fisher's got 6. Hawk is going to be called for the travel. And 3:21 remaining in the third. 66-14, the Golden Bears lead.
Yeah, nice night for Patrick Fisher. 6 points, 3 of 3 from the field. 5 rebounds. And again, an opportunity for that young depth to get some minutes.
Page, corner 3. Short. Rebound collected there by Osuma. Janda has that blocked by Page. And here comes Simon and Powell, 2 against 1. Simon is fouled. I believe that was Cornelius Glasgow on the foul. That's a great name, by the way, Cornelius Glasgow.
Glasgow, yeah. I mean,
terrific name.
Not sure if there is a connection in his family to Scotland or not, but Glasgow, pretty nice, very nice city. Kind of had a bit of a revitalization over the course. Big sports city, Glasgow.
Really?
Oh yeah, in terms of international events, and I mean, obviously there's Celtic Rangers. That's you gotta. I was there a couple years ago for a few years ago before the pandemic for a conference, and they basically got in the in the cab from the airport to the hotel, and we were already discussing. I was discussing. You got to figure out quickly which side you're on. Are you Celtic or are you Rangers? You got to understand that pretty fast because you don't want to say something wrong. Anyway, so I'm not sure if Cornelius has any connection himself to his namesake in Scotland, but a former Skona Lord here in Edmonton.
Crosstown rivalry between the Golden Bears and Griffins. Lots of Edmonton ties on the floor and on the bench. Osunde from Morinville. That is good. And Osunde's got 6 points. He leads the team, averaging 14.4 points per game. Page. Fisher to Page. And that boundary line creeps up on Adam Page. And the Golden Bears turn it over, and the Griffins to inbound. Matthew Osunde. Team high 6 points tonight. And an offensive foul is called against Osunde. It's Fahad Youssef takes a charge.
Ooh, that's a tough call. To me, this is almost a bit of a no call. Like, unless he really extends that arm out, yeah, maybe he does a little bit on that angle from what we initially saw. But it looked to me like Osunde had a pretty good angle. Youssef tried to cut him off, but you see on that replay, maybe a little bit of an extension of the arm.
Powell to Page. Torrington for three. Off the mark. Youssef can't put his rebound back. Good rebound there by Glasgow. Janda fakes the pass to May. Osunde loses the handle. And almost loses it. Out of bounds. 6 seconds to go on the shot clock. Osunde, just how he drew it up. 68-18, the Golden Bears lead.
Well, if you're Alberta right now, I think there will be some talk in the huddle about slowing him down. I mean, even that bucket there, after all the commotion before, he's able to basically go right to the middle of the lane. And so Alberta needs to slow. I mean, again, their best scorer for sure, but you cannot give them that kind of easy access to the paint the way they have over the course of the last 3-4 minutes.
Osunde. Glasgow. 7 to go on the shot clock. In the corner, May's three-pointer off the mark. Fisher tips that to Youssef. Powell. Loses it to Osuma. He misses. Page with the rebound. Nice move there by Page to get across half and maintain possession.
I think he surprised himself a little bit there.
Powell on the baseline swings it to Page. Can't finish, but Patrick Fisher in perfect position. He's got 8 points and continues to build on what's been a solid effort tonight.
Yeah, he's been good tonight.
10 seconds remaining in the third. May, baseline, swings it back to Janda. Janda's three is going to be short right to the hands of Fisher. Torrington head up across half. And that shot's not going to count. And after 3 quarters, 70-18, the Golden Bears lead. So 25-8, they outscored the Griffins in that quarter. And what can you say when a game is 70-18 after 3 quarters?
Yeah, there's not much. I mean, look, if you want to look on the bright side for MacEwan, I think you saw Osunde start to assert himself a little bit. Again, there's not a lot of flow offensively with what the Griffins are doing, but he was able to get himself into the lane, get himself some looks, knock down a couple shots for them. So that's a positive. He's got 8 points right now for them in just under 30 minutes. So he's played all but 15 seconds in this basketball game. But again, despite that, Alberta still puts up 25, and the Bears not quite as careful with the basketball as they may have been earlier in the game. Some unforced turnovers there too, but hey, in a game like this, that's what's going to happen. Is to take a look at the schedule across Canada West.
First night back for basketball in 2024 after a lengthy break. The stretch drive is now on. So you can look at the standings so far. Regina stands alone at the top. And Alberta.
Yeah, so that battle, that Regina-Manitoba battle, an interesting one tonight. The Calgary battle, too. Mount Royal trying to get back to 500. Playing their crosstown rivals in the Dinos. Of course, the Golden Bears and Pandas with one more to go against MacEwan. They'll be on the road next week against Winnipeg. Winnipeg men 7-3 on the season. As that, you look at the score, 10 games correct for Winnipeg. They've won 7 games, not just 5.
One more quarter to go in this one. Isaac Simon has a game-high 13 points. 2 other Bears in double digits. Page has 12 and Micklejohn has 11. Brandon Micklejohn took a tumble in that third quarter, and I don't know if I see him on the bench right now. I think it's safe to assume his evening is done, being up by the margin they are. Alberta shooting 54% from the field. MacEwan countering by only shooting 22%. And we mentioned this in the first half, but only 2 free throw attempts for MacEwan in this one, as Torrington gets that block by Osunde. As Osunde is going to be sore after this one, as Doug, you mentioned, he's played all but 15 seconds for this one for the Griffins. Finds Osuma. Osuma can't finish, as Alberta has 28 points off turnovers, 13 second chance points. As Torrington takes a fall and Nash May is going to lay that in. So 70-20. Good crowd here sticking around in the fourth quarter. Still making some noise.
Yeah, that double team coming as the screen comes, and MacEwan just leaves 2 on Simon as they try to find that slip, in that case to Waldron, but a little bit of overhandling right now maybe by Simon as Barnaby Craddock decides he wants to talk things over a little bit.
Now, if you're Coach Craddock, I'm sure he's making sure his team is just in control, making sure you don't want to let them get any type of run, but I'm sure his game plan wasn't to be up 50 points in the fourth quarter. I'm sure he's fine with that, but it's difficult to coach in a game like this because you still want to push your team. Am I wrong in saying you still want to push your team to still keep putting up numbers? And again, you kind of want to right the ship and put yourself in a good position for the second half of the season, but there's also an element of punching down at times. So that's a tough balance for this Golden Bear team right now.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think for this Bears team, I mean, look, they're a 500 team right now. They're 4-4. I mean, if this team wants to make some noise, the time is now, whether it's against MacEwan or whoever you're playing. So I don't think this is a Bears team that's going to take their foot off the gas, because I think they know there are things they need to continue to work on. And especially when and not that they're thinking about next season, but at the same time, I mean, with the number of players that are going to be gone, it's an opportunity now to get these young guys in, and so there is going to be a strict level of adherence to execution and discipline on the floor that I'm sure was part of that message in that timeout called by Coach Craddock.
Just under 9 minutes left in this one. Waldron and Simon play give and go. Powell to Simon. Quick passing here by the Bears, looking very crisp. 2 to go in the shot clock. Powell spins, fires. Looking a little bit like Jokic last night on the game winner, however that one didn't fall. Job Janda loses the handle right to Youssef. Waldron. Soft pass there to Simon. Torrington, nice dish there to Waldron, goes up and under, can't finish, was pestered there by Osuma. And Osunde lays that in. He's got a team high 10 points, and it's a 48-point game. Simon being watched by Janda. Double teamed, runs right into Osuma. Pass goes out of bounds and right into the scorer's table. Knocks over the possession arrow sign. Looks like everyone's okay. Head on a swivel tonight, Doug. We've seen a couple close calls.
Well, in a case of MacEwan, I mean, they're extending that pressure on Simon, and he's getting himself caught a little bit trapped high and not really getting a lot of help. And the score clock appears to be all right. I'm not sure if that's a upper or lower clock injury. Well, apparently I heard the other day, and it was in the NHL, and they're talking about mid-body injuries now. Yeah. So apparently we've now got a third category to worry about.
They're getting more and more creative just to not tell people information.
That's right.
So the clock is day to day. Probable for tomorrow night, I'll say, because we're back here tomorrow night for another pair of games. Powell in the corners, 3 doesn't fall. Torrington for the rebound. Youssef from straight on, that shot doesn't fall. Powell with the rebound. Nice left-handed lay in there by Powell. Felt there should have been a foul.
Yeah, they're letting them play for sure. I think right now his arm was grabbed behind him, and we've seen some, I think, against Alberta that weren't called too, so it's been going a little bit both ways here.
But I'll take this as an opportunity to add, this has not been a chippy game whatsoever.
No, not at all.
And you'd think in a game that's a 50-point margin, it could get chippy. But I think that's a testament to both teams. It's been a relatively clean game. I don't know if you caught it. I don't think we'll have an end like the gold medal junior game today between Sweden and the United States.
No, we were looking at some of the highlights just before our game here, the Pandas game earlier. I hadn't seen. I'd heard there was some stuff that had gone on, but I didn't see what caused it or what actually took place. Not a lot of. I think yesterday was the anniversary of the punch-up in Piastani, so it wasn't anywhere close to that today, obviously, but luckily.
7 minutes left in this one. Powell is fouled.
Fewest points MacEwan have scored so far this season. In their opening game, 53, opening preseason game against Thompson Rivers, where they lost 73-50. Actually, that was at the Golden Bears Invitational here at the U of A.
Youssef is going to be called for the offensive foul. So the Griffins actually outscoring the Golden Bears in the fourth quarter. So you look at Barnaby Craddock in his 12th season with the Golden Bears. I don't think there's been many games where he's been up by 48 in his 12th year with the Golden Bears. As Osunde blocked by Waldron. And Janda goes up and in.
An example there, that's just a young player, makes a really good play, and then a little bit of panic after. Forces up that pass, gets turned over.
8-2 run here by the Griffins. Powell, as the Red Seas part, he can't finish. Hawk steps out of bounds, and it's going to be Golden Bears ball. With 6:11 remaining in the fourth. Russell to Powell in the corner for 3. That one doesn't fall. Youssef keeps it in bounds. Powell tries a 3. That one's too strong. Hawk, you can tell the Golden Bears a little more liberal with some of their shot attempts now.
Yeah, one of their last 12 from the three-point line. They're 8 of 27 so far tonight from long range.
Joel Siki to inbound. First-year player from Edmonton. Sunday, 4 points off his season average. Siki lays that one in. Are the Golden Bears relaxing a bit defensively here?
Well, I think a little bit, and again, this is other than Max Russell, a lineup, and Powell a little bit too, a lineup that hasn't played a ton. Whereas this is for MacEwan, this is largely their, other than Correas, this is really their core group.
Siki with a nice lay-in. So a 12-2 run to open up the fourth quarter. Cuts that to a 42-point deficit. Powell to Youssef. Waldron. Torrington being watched by Janda. Torrington, touch pass ends up in the hands of Russell. And the Pandas struggling, or Golden Bears, excuse me, struggling on offense in the fourth. As Hawk, that's a miss. Youssef with the rebound. Torrington. Three-pointer by Youssef is short.
Yeah, a lot of one and done right now for the Golden Bears, and
three-pointer here by Siki is wide, but an offensive foul called, I believe, against Alberta. Yeah, it is going to go against Logan Powell, so his second foul of the evening. See Powell right in the middle of your screen here. Just popped right into the MacEwan player. Set that aggressive pick. Still no sign of Brandon Micklejohn on the Golden Bears bench.
yeah, might have, again, not to speculate, might have needed some stitches after.
That's kind of what I was, that's where my mind was wandering. Siki. Osuma. Siki called for the travel. 4:07 left in this one.
Yeah, Joel Siki, another young player, first year out of St. FX here in Edmonton. 18 points, 9 rebounds against UBC right at the beginning of December, then had 12 points on the following night. So again, we've seen that tonight, you know, player with a decent scoring touch. 8 points tonight on 4 of 11 shooting.
Max Russell has Patrick Fisher. However, that is stolen by Osunde. Hawk rising, firing from just inside the three-point line. 40-point lead now. 14-2 run by the Griffins. Powell to Russell. To Eggert. Eggert from about 6 feet. Nice touch shown there. Native of Medicine Hat. First points in a few minutes there by the Golden Bears.
Yeah, it ended a scoreless drought of a little over 3.
Osunde zips it over to Janda. Osunde, corner 3. Too strong. Timed perfectly there by Fisher to collect that rebound.
Much better ball movement, a little more flow offensively there by MacEwan, and there's a nice job in transition by Alberta.
Real nice pass there to Russell, and then to find his man Eggert in motion.
That's just a nice job by Eggert just to run the lane and just run hard to the rim. You're going to get rewarded for that more times than not. But the Bears right now defensively, just too many easy looks at the free throw line. We saw that from Osunde earlier. Now it's been Hawk who's been able to just couple dribbles and find himself open at the free throw line. The Bears have to find ways going into tomorrow and through the rest of the season. You cannot be giving up those kind of easy looks.
Youssef for 3 is good. And a timeout called by the Griffins. And you talk about this lapse defensively here by the Golden Bears, Doug. It's hard to stay engaged when you're up by 40.
Yeah, and look, I mean, this is exactly how these games tend to go. You've got a young lineup in. They're trying to figure things out. MacEwan's left a lot of their, again, it's a young lineup there too, but they're more veteran players, or the players that see bigger minutes, let's put it that way. And so yeah, there is going to be a little bit of a let up for sure. But again, that's why in situations like this, if you're Barnaby Craddock, you want those players on the floor. Give them some of those minutes, give them some of those teaching moments that you can then come back to on film and say, hey, how would you react to this action? How would you know, what's the communication like here right now? What could you be doing defensively? So it's, you don't love the run by MacEwan, but you take some learning from it.
2:18 left in this one. Reminder, we're back at it tomorrow evening with, again, the same matchups. The Pandas were victorious over the Griffins earlier tonight. And the Golden Bears well on their way to winning their 5th game of conference play this year. As no changes here for the Golden Bears. Coming out of that timeout by the Griffins, 2:18 left. Osunde. As Daniel Garner is checked in for the first time tonight. Hawk. Spins, fires. Ty Hawk gets the friendly bounce. That drops. Powell. Eggert. In a high traffic area, too strong. Mondahar collects the rebound. Eggert whacks that loose, however, it falls out of bounds with 92 seconds left in this one. Deli Osuma to inbound. And the Griffins across half. Osunde has that tipped. And here come the Bears. Powell hesitates, finds Waldron. Waldron makes no mistake. He's got 5 points on the night, and the Golden Bears have broken 80.
So right at their season average, 80 and a half. 7th best in Canada West. MacEwan's actually likely to come under their average defensively in terms of points allowed, which was 88 a game, and barring a big push, which I don't think we'll see from the Bears here late, MacEwan will stay under that.
Is that something they can build off?
Sure, yeah, I mean, definitely a better second half for MacEwan. There's no question about that, and again, lots of reasons for it. I think better execution, better discipline. I think the Bears taking their foot off the gas a little bit plays into it too.
Nash May with 30 seconds left. Mondahar. Hawk. Slides. His shot is too strong. Max Russell with the rebound. And that will do it. One of the more lopsided games I have ever been a part of, as the University of Alberta Golden Bears win 81-36 to improve to 5-4 on the season. They improve to 17-1 all-time against MacEwan. And really, what's left to be said that hasn't been said after this one, it was all Alberta. And they pick up their first win of 2024. MacEwan did have a lead at one point in this game. I knew it was about 30 seconds into this game, but it was all Alberta, and MacEwan just frankly couldn't keep up. And really, it's just, I feel bad for a lot of people involved in this game.
Yeah, I mean, there's just not a lot you can say.
Yeah.
He scores 6 points in the first half in a U Sports game. There's not a lot more to be said. I mean, that kind of speaks for itself. And hey, MacEwan found ways in the second half to get some answers, but overall, this was a pretty dominating performance by Alberta and dominating throughout their lineup. So positive on that respect for Alberta. I think they'll look at some things in the second half to work on, but overall, pretty impressive.
We are joined by Logan Powell. He had 11 points, along with 3 rebounds and 3 assists. And what can you say about a game like that, Logan? Your team was really in control all evening long. They got a bit of a run in the fourth quarter, but overall, you've got to be happy with how your team started off the calendar year of 2024.
Yeah, no, I think it speaks to our preparation as a team. You know, we made a commitment after the Calgary game that December isn't some time off. It's a time to get a push, time to get better, and I'm just glad that showed tonight.
We were talking about it on the broadcast. I mean, how tough is it to play in a game like that where, again, you're up by 39 at halftime, you've given up 6 points. Is it difficult to stay mentally focused heading into the second half? Or to your point about what you said about December, is it part of that mental building into the second half of the season?
Yeah, no, I think when you play, 32 games in a season, including preseason and playoffs, it's not always about who's in front of you. It's about what you can build as a team throughout the season. So I think that was really a focus of us in halftime. It's not always about them. It's going to be about us. If we can limit our turnovers, kind of play our game throughout the entire 40 minutes. So I think that was a really big focus, and that helped us.
Looking at the box score, I see a lot of balance on your team. Look at the minutes played, look at field goals attempt. Despite the score, this is a good opportunity to get some of the younger players involved. This is only your second year at this program, so this is big minutes for you and big minutes for some of your teammates as well, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you see Patty getting the dunk right there. We're all happy for him. I think it's a big confidence boost for 1 through 12. Even someone like Ethan, who's just coming back off an ACL, it's nice to get him some minutes, get him some touches, some reps, and just get that feel back for someone like him. And yeah, just our young guys, we need everyone to contribute. We're a tight group. We only have 12 players. In past years, we've had 16, 17 guys, so I think it's very important for us to all gel and all get the reps throughout the year. So that was really good.
And how do you feel about your game? Like Mark said, you've been with the program longer than 2 years, but 2 years, dressing. Where do you feel your game is at right now as we're halfway through this 24 season?
Yeah, well, I'm excited for the opportunities that I have. I think the coaching staff and myself agree with what I should be doing when I go out there, right? Just trying to get everyone involved, be someone who moves the ball, takes the open shot. So I'm very happy with my role on this team. I think it helps that we're all best friends and we're all kind of hanging out all the time. So I think it's nice that we've all gelled, and I'm happy with my contributions to that.
Well, Logan, congratulations. You had 11 points. Your team is victorious, 81-36. Enjoy tonight. We'll see you back here tomorrow evening.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Logan Powell, player of the game for the Golden Bears. And Doug, it's a great atmosphere right now in the Saville. I see lots of former Golden Bears kind of all over the place came out. Maybe you'd want a closer game, but a really nice start to 2024 for the Golden Bears.
Yeah, I really like what Logan said. I mean, that Calgary weekend, I think, might have been a little bit of an eye-opener for them in terms of, hey, if we're going to make something out of this season, there has to be, and not to say they weren't committed before, that's not what I'm saying, but there's got to be an extra level of commitment heading into this second half. And I think, so it's interesting to hear him say that. And again, it's funny, like he's a second-year player, but you almost see him as one of the veterans on this relatively young team because he's been with the program longer than that. He was part of the team that got to that hosted Nationals here a couple years ago, didn't play, but was part of that team. So I think a guy who maybe doesn't have the playing experience, but brings some experience to this lineup, and to hear him talk about that mental side of them continuing to push, I think is so interesting, and something that I think will help in terms of where they're trying to get to, not just this year, but beyond.
In life, I try to be more optimistic than pessimistic. So if you're a MacEwan supporter, what positives can you take from tonight? They outscored the Golden Bears in that fourth quarter. So we're getting dapped up by some former Golden Bears here. Mamadou Gueye back in the house. Yeah. If you're MacEwan, what positive things can you take from tonight?
Oh, that might be the hardest question you've asked me.
It's a quick drive home? Is that it?
Maybe. Yeah, that's probably part of it. You know what? I think here's the positive, and it's not going to sound like one. I think a game like this is really where you check yourself as an individual and you check yourself as a team. Who are we?
Yeah.
When you score 6 points and a half in a U Sports game, to me, you have to take that negative and turn it into a positive. And the positive being asking yourself where you're at. Yeah. And again, I know that sounds like an odd answer, but I don't know what else you do. I mean, you don't take any positives. Yeah, they got themselves back into it. They still got blown out here today, and this game was over halfway through the first quarter. I mean, they were down 24-4 after the first quarter. The game was done. So I think that if I'm on that team or if I'm part of the coaching staff, that's what I'm doing, is checking, looking in the mirror and saying, who are we? And see if you can start to answer that question tomorrow night when you're back here. That's, I think, all you can do.
We're back here tomorrow night for another doubleheader of Alberta versus MacEwan, the Battle of Edmonton, north of the river versus south of the river. If you watch both games, thank you so much for joining us. If you tuned in on CBC Gem, thanks for doing so for the first time. If you're watching on TELUS TV, thank you for sticking around. On